Good morning, followers, and welcome back to the East Manchester Experiment. Um, I should say before I get started that this may be one of the last episodes of this. I mean, I will get to the end of this season, but beyond that, this may well be it for this save because the new patch for the lower leagues in FM20 is going to be out any day now. So this could well be one of the last videos. I could be wrong. As I say, if I start another season, I will finish that season. But this is the way it's looking at the moment. Sorry, I'm just trying to make some adjustments so that you can see everything properly. The way it's looking at the moment, it looks to me like this will probably be the last game that we play. The last season that we play at East Manchester and in FN19 itself. So that was just a little heads up. Today's video is going to be quite short for various reasons, partly because I'm actually recording it on the day, which is quite unusual. I don't usually do that, and I'm a bit short for time. This may also be a little bit late, for which I apologise. But it is going to be quite a short video. It's going to be just the one game. It is, however, a really, really important game because it is against probably my biggest title rival. I think there's quite a bit of competition for that, and it does sort of change around a little bit. But it does seem to me like this will be our biggest title rivals. You can see at the moment it's a bit kind of congested, but we're playing West Didsbury and Chorlton, who will be top of the league if they win today. Obviously, if they don't, then Congleton will be again. But I just feel like West Didsbury and Chorlton look to me like a slightly better team. If we can win today, then with our game in hand over everyone else, or at least over the two on the top, then we are back in touch. We'd be potentially 6 points behind Congleton with that game in hand, and also 5 points behind West Didsbury and Chorlton with the game in hand. As I say, I think West Didsbury and Chorlton probably a little bit more of a threat to us this season than Congleton, but I could be wrong about that. In terms of selection, it's a bit difficult one because I'm quite happy with Waterhouse and Smith. Whitcomb is the one who's rather underperforming, but he's by far and away our best player, so it's very hard for me to drop him. I may have to if he continues to underperform, but for the moment I'm going to stick with him. I have a bit of a problem in central midfield because I don't really have many consistent performers. Blakeman's doing okay, but other than that, you can see here, there's not really any midfielders who have done anything brilliant for us. So I've been sort of rotating a bit, trying to find the best combination. And because Brock has only had a couple of games, I thought I'd go with him. I might see if I can give him a bit of a run, because part of my problem in previous years, I've mentioned this before, is just constantly rotating and it never seems to get us anywhere. So if I give him a bit of a run, even if he doesn't do brilliantly to begin with, I'm hoping he might improve. You can see Max Gee is on the bench still. He's every bit as good as some of these players, I think. But again, it's about consistency. It's about keeping them going. Javan Smith, Waterhouse, and Gee, all very, very, very similar level as far as I can see. So it's good to have that little bit of extra kind of rotation power, and then Ben Mills is the kind of backup if he is required. Since the last time we spoke, there have been a few developments. We've signed Whitcomb to another year's contract, which I didn't really expect. It's very good news. But also, almost every one of our top players now, you can see out of the people who are playing, there's only a couple left who haven't yet signed contracts, and I think those ones probably will do shortly. Lovegrove signed one quite recently, so he hasn't been asked to, and obviously Osei is on loan. Might I try and get him? Possibly. Again, only if it works out cheap and sort of doable, but it's certainly a possibility in the future. But yeah, that's my team for today. We're playing against West Didsbury and Chorlton, and a win today would obviously put us into a much better position. If we lose today, it's going to start looking very difficult. So this is probably quite a big game. If we don't win today, we'd be 8 points. No, we'd be... Well, we'd be quite a long way behind anyway. We'd be at least we would be 11 points behind West Didsbury, albeit with a game in hand, and that is quite a lot to make up, I would think, at this stage of the season. So let's go and see if we can get some goals. Ideally, I want to see Troy Whitcomb get a few again because he's so out of nick, and that's the problem. If you've got your star player out of form, it's going to be a real problem for you. And actually, so much so at the moment that Harry Waterhouse has become our star player according to the game. Which, I mean, it's not true. Whitcomb is clearly a better player than Waterhouse, but it does show you the kind of poor form that Whitcomb is in. Just compare the two. Probably are a bit closer than they used to be. Obviously, Waterhouse much quicker, but all of this space here is the difference between them, and they are significant. There's a significant difference there. Okay, Whitcomb's not quite as quick, but there are other things there that are important. Obviously, the speed does mean that Waterhouse is a very good player at this level. But the technical superiority from Whitcomb should mean that he is our best player. He just hasn't been recently, that's all. So here we go, away to West Didsbury. I'm going to try and hit them on the counter a bit because we're not in the best form, as you can see. I mean, you probably could tell from where we are in the table that our form hasn't been great. We've lost 2 and drawn 1 in the last 3, so far from ideal. And the game against Vauxhall Motors in particular was disappointing because we really should have won that game. We were winning, in fact, at half time 3-2, and allowed them to come back into it in the second half. That guy Bexfield just tore us apart really in the second half, and we didn't have much of an answer, so that's going to need to change. Here we are with Blakeman, and Whitcomb heads over the bar. At least he's had a chance at the start. Max Brock's got himself injured. I wonder what my assistant thinks. Potential foot injury, that doesn't sound ideal. I think I might bring him off. Don't want to risk it at the moment. We've got plenty of players who are roughly the same level, and whilst none of them are performing well, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference which one's on the pitch as far as I'm concerned. So we've gone for Jake Holmes. Hopefully we'll do a job there for us. Ossé has the ball on the wing, cuts inside, over the top to Whitcomb. Whitcomb shoots, hits the post. He's looking dangerous. 2 shots already for Whitcomb. That one in particular looks certainly one of those where it would go in on a different day. Okay, so we've got to half time. Not really look particularly dangerous. We had 1 or 2 shots, as you've seen, but I'd like to see a bit more. Obviously, I've told them I'm pleased, but I do want to see a bit more from them. I wonder if I can. No, I don't want to risk that because if they're reacting well at the moment, that's what I need. Their morale, as you can see, isn't great. So I don't want to be playing around with that and risking a drop in that when they all reacted really well to that initial team talk. Might be soon time to go a little bit more attacking. And this wouldn't be the end of the world as a result. It leaves us 8 points off the top with that game in hand, so it wouldn't be the end of the season by any means. But a win would obviously make a massive difference to us. And what's happened is this keeper. I've got a real problem at the moment with the keeper. I've changed it, as you can see, basically because I've never been able to find a really good keeper. It's been a real problem for me. In the way that Troy Whitcomb has upgraded my attack, I've never found a keeper who's managed to do that. Got to go for it now. We need to get this. We need to at least get a point from this, at least. But yeah, finding a new keeper is going to be a real priority this year. I know I'm talking as if we'll have another year. We may well not. When we need to win, or at least a draw, to go down to 10 men, to sacrifice a striker. And when I'm playing 3 up front, it always has to be a striker when I lose a man, which is annoying because we need a goal. But what can you do when you've got 1-0 down, 10 men? You've got to sacrifice a striker there. I'm going to change another striker though. Jovan Smith not entirely at his best, and it looks like they're going to hit us on the counter. This could be the end of the game. Oh no, Owen saves it. I mean, we are pretty much into injury time by the time we get up to the end anyway. Thompson Matthews crosses in and it's cleared off the line. Get the ball. Can we hit them on the break now? Good Chukwu through to Gee. Not looking particularly. Oh, we nearly got that right, but not quite. 5 minutes. We've got a chance. Just make one chance. Come on, one chance for Whitcomb. You never know. But again, he's had a really poor game again. Don't know quite what to do when you've got a player who's supposedly as good as this guy is, and that is the end of the game, isn't it? It's very hard to know what to do when you've got a player who is potential. Well, he should be by far the best player, at least in your team, possibly in the division, and he's just not performing. What can you do about that? I've done everything I could think of. I've given him a new contract. Admittedly, he took a pay cut, which most of these players have, by the way. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe they're kind of feeling that with the financial troubles we're in, they should do. But I mean, I don't really know what more I can do to get Whitcomb firing. I've tried him in different positions. I've tried him. Sorry, when I say different positions, I mean along the front line of the 3. I've tried him in a slightly different role, but there's clearly one role he's best at. And he's just not really hitting the form that he had earlier in the season. And the fact is, if he'd continued in that form, we would have won the league this year. I'm fairly certain of it. And it's just so frustrating. I will just cut to the league table so you can see the effect of that. But as you can gather, it's not looking good now. Let's come straight to it. We're now 11 points behind West Didsbury with that game in hand, but that's a long, long way to make up. We've only got another 17 games. So look, it's looking like we will not ever make it past the North West Counties Premier in this game, to be honest with you. I did say at the start of the season that if we couldn't get through this league with someone like Whitcomb, then I didn't think it would ever be possible, and it's starting to look like that's happened. I can't for the life of me understand why he's not performing there at Swarthouse. player like this, he should be doing better. He has done better. You can see his stats are pretty good. Admittedly, the FA Vars has slightly skewed it, but 9 goals in 11 games isn't bad. But I don't think he's scored many recently. You can see here he hasn't scored now since, well, in the league he hasn't scored since the end of November. And he got 2 there. And he's been playing in most of these games. I think he might have missed 1. No, he didn't miss any, I don't think. So he's gone 4 games in a row now without scoring a goal, which is not what I really want, to be honest. I think I did give him a rest in the cups. Yeah. Oh no, he did. No, he played there as well. So that's another game. Again, he got 2 in that game, so it was okay against Westfields. But they're a team from a lower league than us. So he's actually gone 5 games in a row without scoring, and even that. Excuse me. And in that game, we were playing against a team below us in the pyramid. So he should be scoring goals in that game. I don't really know what to do. As I say, looking like this will be the last season probably, and that kind of takes the pressure off it. But I need to get him firing, otherwise there's no way I'm going to get promoted. And if there is going to be another season, I'd really like it to be one in a league above, because it'd be a shame to go through all of this and only get a couple of promotions. Well, let me know what you think I can do. I'll just quickly show you my training. I mean, it's obviously very basic, but I've got my coaches, I think, doing the right things. They all seem to be doing sort of the thing that they are best at in general. And there's 1 or 2 exceptions. There's obviously a couple of people who have to double up because we haven't got enough, and I can't get more coaches at the moment. But they should really be doing better than this. And yes, I know that they're weak still, but Troy Whitcomb has significantly dropped off. If you look through his development, it's not significant as I thought, but he has dropped off a little bit. There are a few of these attributes that have come down, and in particular determination. It's a bit of a concern that he's going downwards. And that's only in the last month or so. But yeah, I need to start trying to work out how I can change things for the better, because if we don't do it soon, it will be all over. I think it's nearly all over already. If we were to go on a really good run now, it's not impossible, but it's going to take something special here, and that something special is going to have to come mainly from Whitcomb, I think. I might see if I can give him a little bit of a kick up the backside. Anyway, I will be back next episode. It will probably be quite soon. Actually, I've got a little money spinning competition in the middle of the season there. Had a few spare days, so I thought I might as well try and fit something in. When's that going to be? I'm not going to take the League Cup final, the quarter final, I don't think, but I might take the semi. In terms of teams around us, we're looking at Earlham Backup, Vauxhall Motors, Congleton. Might come back to for the Earlham game, I think. That's what I'll aim for, I think. So we'll try and go for the Earlham game on the 18th of February. By that point, I think if we haven't made up quite a few of these points by then, I think we can probably say that this is not going to be a promotion season, and that therefore we're unlikely to go through an extra promotion in this save. But who knows? I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Earlham will be our next port of call anyway. We are at home, in the middle of a run of home games, as you can see. And after that, we will be massively into the run in there with the last few games. If we've strung a few wins together, then this could start to look like a title run in. Fingers crossed, and I will see you tomorrow.